Hello, Garland Nixon here, and it's the 5th of May, and we're going to look into some online miscreant activity, possibly by Facebook. Let's talk. Hi, Garland here, and some things I was looking into on Facebook. I'm always looking around. I guess it's the old investigator in me, and when I see things, I tend to dig just a little bit. And yeah, oftentimes online these days, when you dig, just one shovel of dirt turns over, and what do you know? You end up finding the Department of Defense, NSA, CIA, etc. Let's start by looking at something here that I find interesting. We're going to look at some various and sundry documents. We're going to look at stuff on Facebook together, you and I. Yes, together, you and I. So let's start off here. This is just a warm-up, shall we say. Here's our warm-up. How and why the DoD works with Hollywood. Now, one may think to themselves, oh, this is undercover, somebody's doing, but look at the website. This is a Department of Defense website. This is the Department of Defense. I don't know if you knew this or not, but the DoD actually has a office in Hollywood. That's why you see things such as the latest Red Dawn movie. I don't know if you know, the remake of Red Dawn, right? The original one was propaganda enough. But in the remake of Red Dawn, the North Korea attacked the United States, and now keep in mind, North Korea does not have a navy to get here. They are a country the size of Pennsylvania. They are a country with 39, 40 million people. We got 330 million people. So what we're to believe is that somehow the North Koreans got to the US and attacked us or something like that. The North Koreans attacked us. How stupid is that? It is stupid until you look at this. How and why the DoD works with Hollywood. And this is from the US Department of Defense. The Department of Defense has a long-standing relationship with Hollywood. In fact, it's been working with filmmakers for 100 years with a goal that's twofold. Listen to this. Accurately depict military stories and make sure sensitive information isn't disclosed. That is a lie. An absolute. That's what you get. That's what our government gives us. That is a lie. They're going to accurately depict military service. Really? We know that's a lie. Jack Reacher. Remember, what was it? 24 Venezuela. They were like terrorists from Venezuela. The United States has launched terrorist attacks on Venezuela. Venezuela has never launched any kind of attack, anything in any way against the United States. All they've ever said is, please leave us alone. Stop sanctioning us. Stop trying to overthrow our government. But according to this 24 on Fox, if you remember that, it wasn't Jack Reacher, it was 24, whoever the slob is on 20 on that movie. It was Venezuela. So yeah, no, that's all lies. There we go. Military liaisons work mostly with unscripted projects, right? Let me add this. There's this show on called it's a reality show called 90 Day Fiance or something like, or it's one of these shows where I think it's the one where they get married or something. They marry a complete stranger and they're married for a certain amount of time, and then they have to decide whether they want to stay divorced or whatever. And what do you know? When the Ukraine situation happened, this SMO, whatever you call it, started, one of these brides is Ukrainian. And all she runs around constantly is saying, my country was attacked. My country was attacked by Russia. Russia attacked my country. That's her line for the whole show. Hey, let's say we get something to eat. My country was attacked by Russia. What do you think of your new husband? My country, I would like to go home to my country, but it is attacked by Russia. That's her line. That is her line. That's what she says. A reality show. So the people sitting around watching this, bride at first sight, marriage at first, whatever the hell, they get propaganda of some blonde-haired, pretty Ukrainian woman constantly saying, "My country was attacked by Russia." So yeah, there we go. The DoD works with Hollywood. Okay, now let's get down to the stinking truth about Facebook. Maybe. I have my suspicions, but we're going to do what I do. I always dig, let me give you an example. I'll be looking at an article and it'll say, yes, the Department of, it'll be like in Newsweek, New York Times. It'll say New York Times was advised by, and they'll always have the name of some NGO, People Against Genocide. And what I'll do is I'll click on People Against Genocide. People never do that. And then I'll go to the website and then I'll look and I'll see who is it'll say about, and then you can go down and you can see who the people are who are on their board of directors. Always a bunch of the same stinking neocons. And then you can see, and they'll say, we're a part of the People Against Genocide Network. And you click on that and you'll see a whole bunch of NGOs and they're all just alike. Their websites even look alike. It's obviously a fraudulent project. I do that. I guess it's my old days as an investigator. Causes me, I can't read anything without taking out a shovel and just turn it over one little bit of dirt and seeing what I find. Now let's look at stinking Facebook. Let's see what Facebook's up to. Okay, one of the things that I noticed in my, we're going to do this together, you and me. So one of the things that I noticed, let me find it. Which one is it? That's not it. Here we go. All right. One of the things that I noticed on Facebook is that I constantly in my feed get these things about war planes. Look at these planes, great planes, B-2 Spirit, right? Let's look at these things together. So I decided to myself, and then I would look constantly in my feed, constantly, right? Oh, before I do that, you know what? I do want to do one other thing before I go to this. I got to do one other thing. I got to give you a little bit of background. Let's do a little bit of background here. Before we get into that, I think it's important to look at this. Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Research Lab partners with Facebook to combat disinformation in democratic elections. Look at that, the Atlantic Council. Atlantic Councils today announced a partnership with Facebook to independently monitor disinformation. What do we know about the Atlantic Council, right? So that's who's working with Facebook, the good old Atlantic Council. They don't want disinformation on Facebook. Certainly not. Absolutely no interest in that. Let's take a look. Atlantic Council. I wonder where they get their money. Well, why don't we look? British Foreign and Commonwealth Office. Let's keep going down. Goldman Sachs, Rockefeller, Saab, Chevron, General Atomics, JP Morgan. Let's keep going down. Palantir, you ever heard of them? That's that CIA-sponsored organization. Oh, well, Raytheon, the U.S. State Department, Victor Pinchuk, a very, very wealthy Ukrainian oligarch. Let's keep going down. Army Future Studies Group, Blackstone, there we go, BP, Embassy of Bahrain, Embassy of Japan. Let's keep going down. What do you know? Lockheed Martin. Ministry of Defense, Finland. Ministry of Defense, Lithuania. NATO Public Diplomacy, NATO Stratcom, Open Society. I mean, you can just keep going. Norwegian Ministry of Defense, Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Keep going down. United States Department of Energy. Oh, United Technology Corp. Now Raytheon. Oh, Raytheon's giving them money twice. BlackRock. ExxonMobil, Foreign Office of Germany, General Dynamics, Her Majesty's Government, Marine Corps University, Northrop Grumman, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Do you see the point here? You see what I'm getting at? I can keep going down. U.S. mission to NATO, United States Marine Corps. See what I mean? BAE, Bank of America, Boeing. Okay, so that's who funds the Atlantic Council. warmongers, state departments, NATO, you name it, right? Every possible potential um, uh, 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 maker of military hardware in the world is funding the Atlantic Council, and the Atlantic Council are the ones who are handling Facebook's disinformation. Now let's look at the fine work that the Atlantic Council is doing. What I noticed was, as I said, well, let's go back here. What I noticed on my screen constantly in my feed was crap like this. Warplanes, B-2 Spirit, up and down. We're going to go over some of them. So I started thinking to myself, I thought, self, something's rotten in Denmark. Something is really rotten. Something's filthy in Denmark, right? That's what I'm thinking to myself. Something's rotten in Denmark. So I thought, well, why don't I start looking? Because I would see that there were these people. Oh, yay. All right. Way to go. Great plane. Awesome. So I thought to myself, who are these friggin' maggots? Who are these people constantly loving Facebook? Every time I go, I see this crap, war crap, up and down my Facebook feed, and constantly they're warmonger worshipers. Yay, this is great, this is awesome. And I start thinking to myself, new knowledge. Now, you ask why I would bring about new knowledge. New Knowledge was one of these so-called anti-disinformation companies that work with the Democratic Party, and they got caught. And what they got caught doing was they were creating all of these fake Russian accounts, and they would point them at whoever the enemy was. And they, in the instance where they got caught, it was Roy Moore in Louisiana. A guy, look, you know, I'm a lefty. I may not agree with him, but I believe in fair elections. New Knowledge goes to Louisiana. They create all of these fake accounts. Then they say they're Russian accounts. They point them all of Roy Moore, and then they say, "Look, Roy Moore, he's got Russian accounts." And they found out eventually that they were fake accounts. That they created them, called them Russian accounts, pointed them at Roy Moore. It was all a fraud. So I thought to myself, let's look. Facebook constantly have this warmonger crap up here. Let's look at who is loving this stuff, right? Let's look at who is constantly, yay, more. So I thought, well, we'll start looking, right? And I look. So we're going to look at some of these accounts. I ain't saying that every one of them is good or bad, but there's some similarities. Let's start looking at this one. James Scargill, right? You'll notice, see the circles. Everything's in a lot of circles. And you'll notice in these accounts, it's vacuous. It's nothing like a real account, right? So this guy's got a circle here. He's got a boat, another circle. I notice a lot of these counts, circles, all these pictures with circles. And then they just have a few things. Here's a circle, August 18th. And you notice they put like it's old 2020. And you go down here, May 7th. 2020. There's another one. It's supposed to be old, but it's just a picture of a friggin' boat and another circle of this. He's alive. Just some circle. These are what are these? Could they be AI generated? Well, that's what I say. This guy is one of the worshipers of whatever these are. And I also noticed a lot of them have this fake I got my COVID account stuff, right? Okay, let's go back. So this is the first guy. James Scagnelli. He's I'm guessing an AI generated. All right. So let's go to the next person. All right. How about Doris Sarup? We're going to look at Doris Sarup. Look at this. Circles, some more circles, and that's it. Just 2 posts. In history of this person, apparently this person, and this post is supposedly from February 7th, 2018. This post is from 2020, supposedly. And old Doris Sarup only has 2 pictures and look, circles. Now let's go back again. Let's find the next slob. Let's keep going. Keith Waters, New Wings looks good. Let's look at Keith Walters. Oh, good old Keith Walters. Maybe he's real. We'll go down Keith Walters. Just again, does this look vacuous stuff? Maybe this person is real. I don't know. They've got some stuff here. Maybe this is a real person, but it looks okay. So we're going to keep looking at them. That's what we're going to do. This guy says my son helped build the first one. So let's look at this guy. And nothing's even coming up. Pray up America. What does that even mean? I don't get it. So we're going to keep looking. We're going to keep looking at about 10 or 15 of them, or 5 or 10 of them. Let's look at another one. Christopher Rogers says, sexy bird. Look at that. There we go with just a couple of circles again. I got my COVID-19 vaccine. You see a lot of those. A lot of those accounts look alike. A lot of them got circles and they've got the I got my COVID, this same thing. I got my COVID vaccine. We can do this. Look at this. They're all pretty much a bunch of circles. You see that over and over with these accounts. That's what makes me suspect that they're fake accounts, because they look so similar. Let's look at Mary Ruth. I want one. Homegrown. God bless America. Just a lot of vacuous stuff, like they just stuck stuff in here. A lot of this content isn't available right now. A lot of that stuff disappears. Right? Let's go back. We're going to keep looking at them. Let's see. Denny Harris. Let's look at Denny. Let's look at this one. We're starting with those circles again. You get a lot of these things with circles in them for some reason. Do people do that? And then look what we've got here. We got some missiles. We've got more missiles. We've got, it's just weird. There you go. Picture after picture of the same guy with circles. The more you look at these, you'll see a lot of similarities, right? Now, here's what we're going to do now. We're going to go to another one. We're just going to look at some of these things and see what we find. Here's one. All right, let's look at this one. Another one I get, fighter aircraft. Now, I get this stuff constantly, right? Constantly. Let's look at some of the people. Lawrence Branda says it's beautiful. Let's look at Lawrence. No new posts. Nothing. Lawrence Branda group post. No new post. Now, this is supposed to be a person, but then it says group post like it's a post, and there's no new post. Isn't that weird? Let's go to, is there anybody else? Let's look at Paul Williams. We got a flag here. No new posts. Same thing. There's a flag. Nothing. No new post. The same exact thing. Two different people, but posted on the same thing, and both of them, look, no new post. There's nothing there. And one thing I noticed, see, Lawrence Branda, beautiful. Let me see. And you can look and see. Let's see what this says. Beauty of engineering. Let's look at Jesus M. Gonzalez. Jesus Gonzalez. No new posts. Isn't that something? The exact same thing. Participant in fighter. No, nothing. Zero. Jesus Gonzalez doesn't have anything going on. But for some reason, we see similar type things over and over and over. How about, let's see. Forever I love U.S. military. Let's look at Dadzi. No, it's weird. See if we can find Dadzi Francis. Group post. No new post. Maybe nothing. Over and over and over. You find the same thing going on. Let's look again. How about we try one of these other warmongering things, right? Let's try. Here's one. Let's look at this. Air Zoo, an Avro Vulcan, and a Handley Page Victor in flight, right? Okay, well, let's look. There we go. That's British. So clearly, the British people have great stuff in there. Now, you notice short. The Victor is the greatest looking aircraft ever. Let's take a look at Jason Hewlett. Up, circles, 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 circle, 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 circle. You notice the pattern? Who does that? Why is it that what it is it about that all of these people who happen to love these airplanes all do? They all, for some reason, do circles. And AI can just make people now. That doesn't mean this doesn't have to be pictures of people. This could very well be AI people created, but they're all looking like circles. Well, let's look back and see if we can find something else. Maybe somebody else did. The stunning beauty of the design of the Victor, it gets me. Allison Edwards, you notice that? Just some woman was like, hey, some woman just happened to see that and said, the stunning beauty of design of the Victor gets me every time. Good old Allison, she loves the stuff. Let's take a look at Allison Edwards, see what we find. Allison Edwards, just what the hell is that? We see just, circles. Just look at this picture. Well, look at Allison Edwards. What's this? And this pictures over and over, and then the same picture over and over, and then we get to the circles, and then the same picture over, circles, over and over, the same damn picture over and over and over. Look at this. Who does that? These are, I mean, there's nothing here. Nothing there. Circles. What the hell is that? Hey, look at all these great pictures. Who? Lots of circles. So what we're looking at, I think, is body counts. Let's go back. Maybe there's somebody else who can tell us. Beauty and the Beast. They all say how pretty they are. There you go. You got your American Eagle. You got a friggin' dog, and more planes. Just somebody who's got a bunch of planes. Just a bunch of planes. Nothing but plane after plane after plane after plane after plane. I love WW2 planes. Nothing but warplanes. Interesting stuff. All right, let's go back and look. Let's try another one. Surely there's somebody else here. Larry Harrison says, that's awesome. I need some go juice, right? Circles, circles, circle after circle after circle after circle after circle after circle. Notice that? Circle. There we go. A bunch of circles. A bunch of circles. You see, and what do you see? Bunch of planes, circles, military planes, circles, circles, circles. You see the same thing over and over and over. Carlos, let's look at somebody else. Chris Hopkins says two fabulous planes. Let's look at what Chris Hopkins has to say. Circles, circle, circle, circle. And that's it, pretty much it. That's it for Chris Hopkins. He's got, and they're all 20. For some reason, they're all in 2020. That's the last time they all put anything up was 2020. Look at this, June 2020. Circle, circle, and 50. And that's it. So this guy's been on since apparently 2015, and he put one in 2015, which was his cover photo, one in 2015, one in 2020. And now he's, and let's look at all of his photos real quick. There we go. That's pretty much it. A bunch of crap here. Do you feel like we're being had? Let's look. Do we got anything else here? What I should do. And is there anyone else? Let's look at this one more time. Share screen. Let's go down here one more time and look at some more on this one. Mookie Blaylock. Now think about it. Mookie Blaylock lives in Australia. Mookie Blaylock was wasn't he a baseball player? But let's look what we got here. Mookie Blaylock. Somebody decided to use Mookie Blaylock's name. This ain't a fake account. A famous athlete. Hey, there's a picture of the famous athlete, Mookie Blaylock. Hey, let's take a look. Mookie Blaylock's talking about how much he loves football, and he's got one post. And his post is the exact same as his cover photo. So whoever this was real lazy when they made this fake account, right? They got Mookie, a picture of friggin' Mookie Blaylock, the actual professional athlete. I think it was a baseball player. They got something bar, and that's all they got. Let's look at all of their photos. And that's pretty much all they got. Somebody was really lazy when they made this fake account. That was real laziness. So Steve Garcia says it's freaking awesome. Let's look at Steve. Let's take a look at Steve's account. We got some cars. That's pretty much all we got. A bunch of cars. So I don't know. Maybe that's real. Maybe it's not. Let's keep looking. We'll look some more. Diane Shea, that would give me a chill if I saw it. Let's see what Jay said. Diane J says, there's your circles. She's got a picture of much of nothing. And there you go. The circles, 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 circles. We saw this one. Somebody else, another one of the bots had this one. Circles, 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 circles. Why do they all like circles so much? What is it about people who love planes? And there we go. You got your who love planes. National Vietnam War veterans. Circle, circle, circles. Happy New Year. Circle, circles. All a bunch of pictures of circles. Support our troops, flags, all of that. And this is good old Diane Shea. We're going to go back and look at some more people because I think it's getting blatantly obvious that what's going on here, don't you? Herbert Walker. Barbara Sapp. This is a woman who lives in Pensacola, Florida. Fantastic. Go look USA. Let's look at what she said. Her picture's in a circle. And that's it. Barbara Sapp has exactly one picture. And that's in a circle. That's it. That's it. That's it. Boom. One picture. Nothing else. How many people do you know that have a Facebook page that have one picture, and what do you know? It's in a circle, and that person just happens to be looking at a big friggin' plane, said, oh, what a great plane. Let's see. And she says, fantastic, go USA. So freaking, let's look at another one. My mom worked on these amazing aircraft. She has. Now, I remember we saw another one that said, my son worked on these. Let's look at David Nelson. He's got Rudolph. He's just got a bunch of crap. Oh, it's in a circle. Oh, it's in a circle. A bunch of crap. Oh, circle, 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 circle. Why is it that everybody who happens to love these aircrafts, and that's it for him, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's got about a dozen posts for his entire life. And apparently they started back in 2016. 2016 he started. And since then, he's got exactly about a dozen posts. That's it. And he's on here. That's why I like to look at these, to go through them, right? Unbelievable. Carl Vaughn. Did we look at him? We might already looked at Carl Vaughn. Larry Sword says it's an awesome aircraft. Did we look at Larry yet? And he's got a bid. Let's look at him. He hates whoever. Okay, he's a hates a bunch of people. Could be a real account. And there, look, Larry Sword has exactly the same picture on his account. So I don't know about him, but it looks suspicious. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so let's keep going. A couple more. Josh Jones. Now that's a really cool pick. I want a B-2 bomber for Christmas. So this guy has planes, and there ain't much on here. Just some planes. And oh, for some reason, he happens to like circles too. Circles, circles, circles. For some reason, they all love to put everything they got in circles. Why is that? Why is that all of the, and that's it. That's it. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So apparently this guy has been on Facebook since 2022. And he's got about 16 posts total. And he likes, for some reason, he also, like all of the rest of them, likes to put all of his stuff in Facebook. Now, this may seem boring to you. I don't know, but this is what I do. This is one of the things I like to do. I like to weed through and just look and see. Okay, how old is this? That big bird. Wow, love our Air Force. Joan Post. And we look there, and she's got some who knows what. I mean, look at this stuff. This is not the kind of stuff people put up. It's just random foolishness. Just random crap that they put up there. Like they just searched around the net and they just found anything they could shove up there. A lot of this stuff on there. Click to play. Just stuff that normal people don't put on their Facebook accounts. We're going to keep going a little bit more, just a little bit more. I don't want to bore you to death, but this is something that I like to do. Let's find one more person. And let's see. Big and deadly. Oh, magnificent. Let's look at this one. Rose Dreden says it's magnificent. Let's see what Rose Dreden has. Nothing. Rose Dreden doesn't even have a page. Rose Dreden apparently has posts, but that's it. Rose Dreden thinks it's magnificent, but Rose Dreden doesn't have anything. Not even a picture. Oh boy, they sure didn't have a lot of time to make this bot. Magnificent, says Rose Dreden. Rose Dreden has no post whatsoever. Is that a bot account? Nothing. Zero. Nothing. This is the person commenting on that. Rose Dreden doesn't have any posts, doesn't have any pictures, doesn't have anything, right? Crap. See all friends. Maybe we'll look at one of Dan Dreden. Let's look at Dan. I guess that's Rose. Dan Dreden has a picture here and some motorcycles and circles. Circle, 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 circle. Just a bunch of motorcycles and a lot of circular pictures. And right there stops. So Dan Dreden has a dozen or so posts, and that's it. And a bunch of circles. So not only is this person a bot, the people that are connected to him seem to be bots. Isn't that interesting? And we go back, and what are we looking at? It won't let us go back. We're looking at this. And what I found, so let me get rid of that. Let me just get rid of that stuff. I wanted to do that. There may be people that I have bored with this. I don't know. I don't really care because, I make videos because I enjoy it. I mean, I hope people like what I'm doing. I hope they like some of the stuff I'm doing, but some of the stuff I did this just to kind of show you one of the things that I do online as a former investigator. When I'm online and I see something, and what I kept seeing over and over and over on Facebook was these and constant warplane stuff. right? Just constant stuff about war showing up in my feed. I'm sliding up and down it right now to see if some of it pops up right now. And I decided, well, what the hell? And then I'm just going to constantly look, see these things. I'm getting sick and tired of them. But I thought, well, why don't I start looking and seeing if some of them, if I can find something in common. So I start, and I'm looking right now. Of course, I'm sliding them down. I don't see them. Sometimes, I mean, they're just nonstop. Like there are times when every fourth, or I'll say every eighth um, thing in my feed is something to do with war. Is one of these things. Let's see. And I'm looking for one now. And of course, they're probably watching what the hell I'm doing more often than not. So even right now, none. As much as I mean, I just constantly get them nonstop. And I'm looking right now, and there's absolutely none will pop up. But you get my picture. And that is when you put all of these things together and you say, number one, oh, what do we know? Here we got one. We're going to look at it. We got one we're going to look at. Okay, we got another one. Oh, and this is fresh because I just saw this. So you can see I didn't make this up. You can see I didn't make this up. This is fresh. This is on my Facebook feed right now. As we said, it's on my Facebook feed, right? Let's look at the comments. We got to look at some of the comments. Who's commenting on this baby? Mass ready for fighting. Payload looks like hell. So wonderful. Well, let's look at this so wonderful one. Let's just get a look and see what we find. I don't even know what this crap is. This is the kind of vacuous stuff you find. Chickens and just whatever. There's that picture. They have the picture up. You notice a lot of these people somewhere on their feed, you'll find the actual picture that they're commenting on, and doggone it, it's gone. Oh, wait a minute. We will find it. We will find it. Well, it's gone. But you get my picture. Oh, doggone it. Another one will pop up if I keep trying. So I'm sliding up and down my feed. Yeah, well, guys, we gave it a good shot. We gave it the old college try. Hey, there's Michael Jackson. Holy crap. There's a girl in a bikini. You gotta like my Facebook feed, huh? Oh man. Well, okay, enough of that. We've given it the old college try. For some reason today, they're not just constantly showing, but they do. They do constantly show. But you get my picture. Number one, let's put them together. Number one. Here's the key. Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Research Lab partners with Facebook to combat disinformation. So that once they got in there, they ain't getting out. So you got the Atlantic Council in there. You got the Atlantic Council that is sponsored by Lockheed Martin. And think about this, what you're also seeing too. There's a corporate angle to this. Lockheed Martin funds the Atlantic Council, NATO, but NATO certainly, and all of those, the U.S. Department of State, all of that. But Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, PAE Systems, all of the big war machine manufacturers, they fund Atlantic Council. Atlantic Council then goes on to get partner with Facebook so they can work with Facebook. But remember what they're doing there. To combat disinformation. That's what they're there for, to combat disinformation. That's what they're saying. That's what it says, combat disinformation. But interestingly enough, let's see. Let's try this. Who makes B-21 bomber? Looking at the B-21 bomber. Northrop Grumman. So we're looking at a B-21 bomber. We're looking at these things, right? They're made by Lockheed Martin. They're made by Raytheon. So what happens? Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, etc. They fund the Atlantic Council. Under the guise of combating disinformation, The Atlantic Council then says we want to work with Facebook to stop disinformation, right? But then we go to Facebook, and what do we have? Pictures of the B-21 Raider that's made by Northrop Grumman. So Atlantic Council gets into Facebook under the guise of combating disinformation, but what do? They start putting advertisements up for Northrop Grumman products. Think about that. They're getting paid by Northrop Grumman. See, that's the whole fraud of this misinformation and disinformation thing. It's a paradox. It's a lie. It's a fraud. You know what it's like? It's the whole thing. It's this whole neoconservative lie thing. You say, look, we're going into country X. Why are you going into country X? Because we got to bring freedom and democracy and help them out. In reality, you're going in there to steal their stuff. They've got gold, they've got oil, they've got all kind of resources. You're going in there to steal it. So what you say is, so that you can lie to the American people, because if the truth of the matter is this, if the American people knew what their government was doing, more often than not, they wouldn't support it. So you say to the American people, we're going into this country to stop a genocide. And then you go into the country to steal their stuff. Now, what do you do on Facebook? We're going on Facebook. Why? Because we've got to stop disinformation. Really? You got to stop disinformation on Facebook? Really? And who pays you? Well, we're paid by Lockheed Martin. We're paid by we're paid by whoever, Lockheed Martin. We're paid by Northrop Grumman, right? And so these are the people, let's look at this. Let's look at this. B-21 Raider, Northrop Grumman, right? This changes everything. It changes everything. It fills their stinking pockets, right? Right? So the B-21 Raider changes everything. Oh, we've got to have the B-21 Raider. Now let's go here. The B-21 Raider changes everything, of course, right? And we're gonna go right down the line. Northrop Grumman makes the B-21 Raider, right? Atlantic Council. Okay, look at this. Honor roll of contributors, Atlantic Council. Northrop Grumman. So Northrop Grumman makes the B-21 Raider. Northrop Grumman funds the Atlantic Council, right? The Atlantic Council works for Facebook to combat disinformation, right? And what's the final thing here? Battle machines on Facebook, B-21 Raider. And what do they say? Part of the reason why the Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit is being replaced by the B-21 Raider from the same company, while the B-52 Strata, blah, blah, blah. So this is an advertisement on Facebook. So you got the Atlantic Council funded by NATO. You got the Atlantic Council. See what I mean? That's the B-21 Raider, right? Here's the connection. My old investigative skills, but this ain't hard. You got the Atlantic Council funded by Northrop Grumman, who makes the B-21 Raider. The Atlantic Council says we got to go on Facebook. Why? To combat disinformation. What do I find on Facebook? Advertisements for the Northrop Grumman B-21 Raider. So what is Facebook anymore? What is Facebook? We already know social media, but there is a direct tie. Atlantic Council funded by Northrop Grumman. Atlantic Council handles stuff on the disinformation for Facebook, and nothing but advertisements for Northrop Grumman products. Now, if you saw some of the other things, some of the other stuff I do, right? Let's do this. Let's do this. Who makes F-22 Raptors? Lockheed Martin. Okay, so the F-22 Raptor is made by Lockheed Martin. right? Now we just saw on Facebook, there you go. Let me show you this. So you go back to Facebook. We're going to do the same exact thing again. We go to Facebook, and what do you got? Great advertisements for the F-22 and the F-35. There you go on Facebook, right? Fighter aircraft, public groups, F-22. So here's what we're going to do now. Let's go to Atlantic Council. Lockheed Martin. We're going to do command. We're going to search for LOC. Oh, there's your funder. One of the funders for the Atlantic Council is Lockheed Martin. So what do we see going on here? Right? We see the Atlantic Council is funded by both Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. The Atlantic Council then says, we got to get on Facebook. Well, what do you want to do on Facebook, Lockheed Martin? We got to combat disinformation. You know, there's disinformation. You can't have that on Facebook. I mean, people will have all kinds of crazy stuff on Facebook. Disinformation. Garland Nixon will be on there doing all kinds of terrible things. If you just let Garland Nixon on Facebook, he'll be involved in disinformation. And what do we find on Facebook? The F-22 Raptor that's made by their funder, the B-21 Raider that's made by their funder. And not only the B-21 Raider, if you look at the write-up, it looks like it was written by Northrop Grumman. Well, what you wonder why it's replacing the B-2? Well, because the B-52 is still in service, but they're doing this, that. Facebook is nothing but the property of the war machine. The war machine has completely taken over Facebook. The war machine now, there's a literal financial, there's a fiduciary chain from Lockheed Martin and from Northrop Grumman, and you keep going for all of them. I will guarantee that there's ones for tanks. Right? I saw the same exact thing with tanks. Hey, look at the new M1A1 tank, right? You go down there, there's a bunch of fake bot accounts. Hey, love those tanks. And you look, a bunch of circles. They got no name, no picture. They're, what the hell is this? And they're like, I love these great new tanks. My son helped build. There's a lot of that in there. My daughter worked here. My husband, my father, my son worked here. You see those kinds, the same things over and over again. And do I have to tell you, I've already showed you, but do I have to tell you that if I search Atlantic Council's funders, that General Dynamics, who makes them friggin' tanks, are going to be in there? So what they do is, it's all a see, what people don't understand is, this is a neoliberal scam. They're all corporate neoliberal scams. Atlantic Council didn't start working with Facebook to stop this information. They did it to fill their filthy corporate pockets. They did it. So now they're like, we're on here fighting disinformation. In other words, fighting actual information, people who are in opposition to war, like me. That's why I'm always suspended from Facebook. But meanwhile, well, it just so happens that they're putting up pictures of tanks and Lockheed Martin advertisements and Northrop Grumman and General Dynamics advertisements. Conveniently, the same people that give them money. And then, see, that's okay, fine. That's corporate America. I don't have to like it. It's wrong. It's terrible. But here's the part that you need to think about. They claim they're there to combat disinformation. For instance, let me give you an example of disinformation. People creating false and fake bot accounts and pretending as though they're real, right? So I just clearly demonstrated you've got to be deaf, dumb, and blind not to look at those accounts and see that there's no question that some of them are bot accounts. They do the same thing over and over. People saying, my son worked for whatever. My dad helped build those. My wife helps build those. My whatever helps build those. The same type of accounts. Beautiful, lovely, wonderful. You go there, there's no picture, there's no post. You go there, they got 2 posts. You go there, they're all a bunch of circles. Those are AI created pictures. Those are not real people. I will guarantee you those are AI created, because you could get sued if they use real people. They use AI and they just create a picture of somebody, create a picture of a family, AI, whatever, and they get it. And then they just put it in circles and they all look alike. But what is that? What is it when you create bot accounts? And what are those accounts doing? They put the picture of Lockheed Martin's airplane up there, the people that are paying them, right? But they just can't put them up there with nothing. They put them up there because you know what? Because a bunch of people like me will go in there and say, yeah, you're robbing us blind while you're stealing our money. So they go on there, and to give themselves a level of legitimacy, they create a bunch of fake accounts, and they go down the fake accounts, and they all look alike, and they all say the same thing. That is, in fact, misinformation. That, in fact, is part of the information war against the American people, against the people of the world, period. A pretense on Facebook that everybody loves that number one, that it's just coincidence that they just happen to like the F-22 or the such tanks or the war machines or whatever it is, that just happens to be up there. It just happens to go down. You scroll down, that happens to be there, right? That's one. Number two, that all these people like them. Everybody loves war machines, but they're all fake accounts. That's misinformation. That's disinformation. That's fake. That's fraudulent. We're being lied to. Now, tell me something. Where's the investigation into that? There ain't none, because it's all a fraud. It's all a lie. Okay, thanks a lot, people. All righty. Let me look down. I'm going to get ready to shake and bake, but let me look down first, and we're going to look for any potential super chats because people might have questions or comments. Zach says RFK Jr. uses friendly language about P. Fauci, yet his book crucified him. Good left creators really struggle judging his actions. They think he's Bernie. Yeah, well, let me tell you something. I'll say this about RFK. Based on what I saw from him during COVID, I find it hard to believe that guy ain't pushing back against the system. I mean, let's face it, he said stuff that was unacceptable to say. He went against Fauci. The things that he did was unacceptable. You're going to have a hard time convincing me that he's just part of the machine. You can believe what you want, though. No, and look, people don't trust anybody anymore, so I understand that. You've been burned, as they say, a cat who hops on a hot stove will not hop on another hot stove, nor will he hop on a cold one. So people are afraid, and I understand it. They've been burned so many times. But based on what I saw, RFK over the last couple of years, I find it hard to believe that he's just another schmuck. But believe what you choose. Get off Twitter and Facebook. They're government psyops. Either make all social media public utility or break them up using existing antitrust laws. Let me say something about that. I think that Twitter is considerably better. I'm not saying that it ain't. I'm saying that it is considerably better since Musk bought it. Considerably, unbelievably better since Musk bought it. Take that for whatever you want, but that's the way I see it. Hi, what is the music you use for your intro? I had it stuck in my head yesterday. I'm not really sure. Just something, it comes online. Zach Boyles, it's usually the people who didn't cover COVID well, so they don't know the integrity he's shown fighting restrictions, facing Dems, shouting murderer. Yep, you are correct. Oh. Michael Tracy smeared terror at the anti-war rally, and now RFK literally lied each time. Who's paying him? Yeah, Tracy. Yeah, exactly. Tracy's, he is what he is. Let me tell you. Hey, Chicken Patty. Just because somebody is doing things you don't like, don't mean they're being paid. Sometimes people really are assholes, right? They're always, no matter. I've noticed that whatever happens. I remember when somebody was yelling at Bernie. I was watching this and they're saying, Bernie, you're leading us to nuclear war. Bernie, you're working with the neocons. What are you doing? And here's what the first thing Bernie said: who's paying you? Who's paying you? Man, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Sometimes there are people that are just assholes. Don't discount the fact that there's assholes out here. Don't never discount that sometimes there's people that's who they are, that they're haters. There's haters, man. They're just haters. And Michael Tracy can be a hater. And he can do some good stuff, and he can be a hater. So I ain't saying that somebody's got to pay Michael Tracy to be a hater, because my experience of watching him is hating. He drinks the haterade at times. There's people that are just haters. All right, so we're going to look, and we got some people on TD. You are courageous and honest. Appreciate every measured and balanced insight. Thank you very much, TD. Certainly appreciate it. Wow, TD gave me a great contribution on Rockfin. Certainly appreciate that. All right, I'm just about out of here. Melinda. Hey, Melinda, what's happening? Who's paying Zelensky? We are. I just did my taxes, and I think I owed Zelensky almost $3,000 this year. That's terrible. All right, let's finish. Thanks a lot, everybody. Don't forget, we got Patreon. We got everybody knows Patreon, but what people don't know now is Buy Me a Coffee is better than Patreon. Buy Me a Coffee, for people that don't know, you can just do like $5 Buy Me a Coffee thing or whatever, right? Buy Me a Coffee costs like $5, or it'll say how many coffees you want to buy. But now, and you know, Patreon has cut up people off. They're very neoliberal. They'll cut you off in a second if the machine says cut you off. Buy Me a Coffee now does like Patreon. That now Patreon, Buy Me a Coffee, you can do a one-time 5 or whatever, how many coffees you want to buy, or you can do a monthly thing, just kind of like Patreon, right? So Buy Me a Coffee is great. Certainly PayPal's an option, and I got my Cash App information up there. Thanks a lot, everybody. I certainly appreciate it. I couldn't go without yawning. Ha ha ha. At any rate, thanks a lot, you all, and keep in touch. And my email is garlandin@gmail.com. There's my email. How about that? Peace. I'm out. Oh, I almost forgot. Rockfin, everybody, just in case they throw me up, you know I got to share this video on Facebook, right? You know I got to share this on Facebook. It's going to be fun. But Buy Me a Coffee, Rockfin.com, ROKFIN.com/Garland Nixon. In case they throw me off of YouTube, which could happen after this video, in case they throw me off of YouTube, please make sure you're a member on my Rockfin channel. Rockfin is free to become a membership, costs nothing. They don't have advertisements. And even if they throw me off or they sanction me or whatever the case may be, it's not going to happen on Rockfin. So you can go there. So become a member so you can be on Rockfin. That is my alternative platform. Don't forget, if you choose on Rockfin, the way Rockfin stays in business, and of course, to help my channel, help me make some capital to get this doggone studio up and going. For Rockfin, you can become a subscriber. It's not, you don't have to become a subscriber, but you can become a subscriber. It's $14.99 a month for those of you who can afford it and would like to help the channel on Rockfin. My channel on Rockfin is $14.99 a month to become a subscriber. You join for a year. It's like they give you a couple months free, so it's like $12.40. But even if you can't afford to become a subscriber, become a member. It's perfectly free on my channel on Rockfin. Thanks a lot. Peace. I'm out.